All right. So, yeah, I was afraid we were going to have us doing the call by ourselves again, but
That's all right. We can do that.
good to see the editor.
No, I'm totally into it. I would not miss.
Yeah.
You guys are doing awesome. Your posts make me so excited.
We're having fun, and Angie will text me like she sold $200 worth of her son's clothes today and $350 or $360 of her daughter's clothes. And what did she say? Like $600 or something of Tupperware. Like she used to be a Tupperware salesperson.
Oh.
And so she had like crazy amounts of Tupperware. So she's like so addicted to selling now. She's like, going to sell her kids or something. I don't know. But
Probably why she's not here tonight. She's out selling.
She's selling her stuff.
I know, I'm surprised actually. I'm going to text her because I didn't ask her. But yeah, I think they had garage sale today. I think they started. So
That makes me so
Yes.
happy. Like when we first started learning about this stuff, we kind of did this. We weren't doing garage sales, but we were like, oh my gosh, like we had money sitting in the bank. We were like, why are we not just paying off some debt? Like it's just sitting there. And we paid off like a little bit of like a little chunk of it. And it becomes like almost like how much more can we pay off? How much more can we pay off? How much more can we pay off? Like,
I know. You know what's so crazy is like I said to Angie, I started watching, well, did you see one of Krista's posts about how she, just today she posted like she got rid of all of her old furniture and she got new furniture and she got her house painted and I'm like, I was saying to Angie, okay, I got to unfollow this because it's starting to stress me out. Like, where are you spending my money on new furniture? I got to get her on your next one. War on Debt, part 2, just for Krista Murius.
that is funny. It's true. When we very first started making good money with Beachbody, we were going on lots of dates and like blowing $60-$70 on a babysitter and then blowing $50, out to eat plus a movie. I mean, it was like $150 date nights were normal. And yeah, we didn't last too long doing that before we started learning about this stuff. But we can still have dates, but it doesn't have to be like 7 hours of babysitting and plus a movie, plus like, by the time you pay for all that garbage, it is like ridiculous how much money you spend.
Absolutely.
So
I know.
Date night, like in the winter when we used to have a fireplace, we'd sit by the fireplace and like hang out together. Or like, I know Summer Tucker and her husband will have like, they'll have a glass of wine by the fireplace, or like where our kids are watching a movie, and then sometimes we'll even get like takeout, but we stay home so we're not paying for a babysitter, and we'll have the kids in the other room watching a movie and we're together having like our takeout. So I feel like there's ways to still do it, but to not be foolish in how much we're spending on that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it doesn't feel to me like I'm deprived at all, which I kind of thought I would, but I don't at all. Even tonight, like it was my son's last day of school before he writes exams, and he's been asking me for like 3 weeks, can we have Walkbox? Like, I don't know if you have Walkbox but it's like a little Chinese takeout place, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no, we're not going out, because all I keep thinking is like my restaurant meals is my vacation, right? Like I'm paying attention to that sort of stuff. And so I went and I bought him and my daughter something, and then not for my husband and I, because we didn't really need it. It's tons of sodium anyway.
Right.
And we'll have leftovers. Like it didn't bother me at all. And then I thought, man, like that was so much cheaper. It was like $40 instead of $80.
Right.
Like takeout, really, it wasn't,
Right.
And I thought, man, now it's like such a small little thing, but it can make a big difference over time.
It does. It so adds up. And when you look at like your several months worth of spending and you go over, just like 1 month, and you realize, holy cow, I just spent like
$2,000 at Walmart.
Like
Yeah.
all this money just on eating out, and you come to realize where your priorities are.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, at least for us, our priorities were all about, food, convenience, entertainment, fun, like that's where all of our money was going.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
even
just
our
have
kids.
to kind of realize what your priorities really are, and then track where it's going so that your spending actually reflects what your priorities really are.
Yeah.
Even, I swear it all adds up. Even the other day, I took my kids to the park, and they were like, "Can we go get a Slurpee now? Do you guys have Slurpees?"
Yeah.
Everywhere it is.
Yeah.
Well,
Everywhere in the world.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, they're like, "Can we get Slurpees now?" And I texted Tyler because, like, my credit card got stolen, like, online, and so they had canceled my card, and so I didn't have a credit card. And he was like, "No, like, they don't need something every time they go to the store. They don't need to pick out a treat, or every time we go to the park, they don't need a Slurpee. Every time we take them, here or there, they don't need something every time. Like, no, they can learn that, like, they can go to the park without getting a treat after. No.
Yeah. But it's just good to raise your kids like that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, like, I started saying to my kids, okay, so do you want Walk Box which will cost us X amount of dollars, like $80 for all 4 of us, or should we take that $80 and put it into a vacation fund?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, and my son, he's 14 now and he goes to the high school. And at first, like, he was, he'd made money mowing lawns and things. And he was taking his money, because I wouldn't give him money every day to go out and eat at, like, the pita place, right? And so he's taking his money, and all of a sudden he's like, did you know that he was having Slurpees? The Slurpees are not Slurpees, smoothies. The smoothies are like $9 or whatever they were, right? And over time, he's like, I'm having healthy smoothies, and all my money's gone. Yes.
That's how it works.
And that's exactly what happens, right? Because I'm just not forking out cash. And so I'm trying to get them to learn too, like, that it was like life-changing for me. Your vacation is in your pantry. Like, I can't get over it.
Right.
And I said to Angie, we were talking today, like, how so crazy that our thought processes and our life has changed so much in 2 weeks. Like, really.
That makes me so excited. You got 2 active people in the group.
I know.
Well, I was listening to The Compound Effect. Have you read that
Yeah.
one or listened to that? So Darren Hardy is the author of that, for anybody who's listening. So in there, he talks about finances, and that's a part of the book. And he says, what costs you $1 today is going to cost you $5 over 20 years. So if you would have taken that $1 that you're spending and, invested it or done something with it at, what do you say, like 8% over 20 years, it turns into $5. So his point was, you take a trip to Costco or whatever, and, you go for, $40 worth of essentials that you really need. And then you walk away with $400 worth of stuff that you didn't know that you needed until you got there.
Yep.
So all that money, that extra, $100, $50 or whatever over 20 years is going to cost 5 times that much. So he says, when you're looking into buying something, if it's $50, ask yourself, all right, is this thing worth $250 today? And if the answer is yes, it really is worth that much, then go ahead and buy it. But if the answer is no, I don't really need it that bad, it's not going to help me, it's, whatever, then don't even buy it. Don't spend your money on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I'm super proud of you guys. You guys seriously, I get so excited when I read your post. I'm like, yes! Like, 2 people that are like putting it into action. Like, that's the key. You can learn this stuff and hear it, but if you're not like doing, and it doesn't even have to be big. It's just like your guys' small things of like just knowing, you saying like, let's do $40 of takeout instead of 80, or let's Avery lay down, or let's have like a movie night at home, not a movie night because that's not really a date night, but like, you know, take out together, or and save on the babysitter. Or we tried to start doing like one of those twice, like 2 dates a month, like 2 dates where we're out and then 2 dates where we're just home. So it's once a week, but we kind of try to alternate so that we're going out every other week instead of, I mean, some weekends we were going out both nights on the weekends and just spending because the money was there. It was there, and yet here we were paying $2,500 a month in debt toward our debt, you know, in minimum payments.
Yep.
That's the thing is once you start to make small little changes, even if the changes is like, you know, I cut out, you know, $30 worth of fat out of my budget for the month.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you only do that, after, you know, a month or two of doing that, it's going to start bleeding into other areas. So just that simple mindset shift, like you guys are talking about, it starts to bleed into all these other areas. So it's all about just a behavioral shift. And once you start, however small it is, it's going to start building into something bigger. And even like Dave Ramsey says that, where, you know, building wealth is 80% behavior and only 20% actual knowledge.
Yep.
So, you know, it's all about just taking those action steps and actually, you know, just doing something with it. You know, knowing what to do and knowing how to invest and knowing how to create wealth is one thing, but if you don't make the small day-to-day changes, it's never going to happen. And that's something that you'll see with all the, you know, all the people that are wealthy. You know, most people that are wealthy are like first generation wealth. The people that were born into wealth don't have the right behaviors, and they just end up spending it all away. So first generation, you know, wealthy people, you'll look at them and they're all like Danny Johnson type last week, you know, where she's talking about scooping the last little bit of you know, toothpaste out. That's the way they actually live, is they live based off of what their priorities are, and it's the small things that make the difference.
Well, that's what's so. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll let you start. We shouldn't have even recorded this part. It's interesting because my parents had this giant house that they built years and years ago. And a lot of people would look at them and think that they were super wealthy and had all this money. They drove nice cars. They had this giant house. And I'm talking like 12,000 square feet giant, like huge. And they ended up losing all of it because they didn't have behaviors like this. Like they just spent. And the money isn't, like Danny Johnson says, the money's not always there. Like if you do end up having like a successful business or you have a good income, it might not always be there. Like there's always a dry season. So like, don't be foolish and thinking that the money's never going to run out, because it will. And the same thing with his sister and brother-in-law. They like ridiculously wealthy on the outside, and like planes, like private planes they owned, flew everywhere, private pilots, like a lifestyle that all of us like envied for a certain amount of time. And he got in trouble with, who's the people that FTC? No, not FTC.
Yeah. With
the FTC, with his business, not like his fault, but someone that worked for him, and ended up owing people like $4 million. And yeah, but I told Carter, it's so interesting because the life they lived, you would think they had $4 million sitting around. Like, he would have had that somewhere. I mean, the amount of money he made was absurd. Yep. And they didn't have it. They had to start selling things and getting rid of things because, so the people that we think are wealthy aren't. They're just in a lot of debt. They're in a lot of debt. Like, I used to say that about his brother-in-law, and we love him, but I used to say, like, do you think he can really pay for these things that he has? Like, can he really pay for, you know, like if the money ran out, could he pay his house off? Could he pay his planes off? Could he pay, like, does he have the cash to back it up? So I'm not like, they're great people. I'm just using that as an example of people that society thinks are wealthy. That's what we aspire to have. We want these things and this outward expression of what true wealth is. When I just found out that my grandparents have like $4 million sitting in the bank. My grandparents, who they don't drive, they drive the oldest cars. They have you would never know. My mom was like, how do they have that money? And Tyler and I were both like, they don't spend, like they're not spending it. They invest it. They've like done well to have it. And their plan is, I guess, to give it to their daughters. But it's just funny. The people we think are wealthy really a lot of times aren't. Not always the case, but a lot of times they're not. And the people who, you know, don't appear wealthy really are the ones that are a lot of times.
Yep.
So I was just using those two examples. But.
Okay,
on my tangent's over.
So we can start actually going over this.
I know. Should we just like stop it and then start it again?
No, because all that stuff actually is what we're talking about today.
Oh, cool. I'm not just broadcasting my life, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And Angie's and Krista's. That's all right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start and do exercise letter D. So that is on.
Crap! I forgot my book. I'll be right back.
She's gonna grab her book.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
All right, so if you're watching the recording, that's on page 31. So we're going to do exercise D and exercise E on the next page, so 33 and 32.
We're going to wait for Sandra. Ready?
Yeah, my book is at work. It's okay.
All right. So
I probably went ahead.
Yeah, you were kind of already gone ahead anyways, right?
Yeah.
So for anybody who's watching the recording, you can pause it right here. We're going to go on. But so do exercise D and exercise E. So that's page 31 and 32. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I got my pages mixed up. Yeah, that's wrong. Okay, so exercise E is on page 38.
So they're doing D and E?
Yeah.
Okay.
So exercise D and E. And so this is about wise spending and foolish spending. And so what we're going to do is we're going to watch the video part right now, and then we'll do a little talking after that.
What's D and E again? What are can you give me one of the questions? Because I'm pretty sure I did it.
Yeah, so D is, let's see, one of them. Would you be honest to say that you have definitely spent money on foolish things?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yes, I did do that.
Yeah, and basically, like, is that spending all worth it? And, you know, why did you need it? Who was it for?
What did I do with it? Yep.
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
And then E is you're circling wise or foolish, you know, these different figures and which one's wise and which one's foolish.
I'm ahead of the game. Okay.
Yay, good. All set up to, I made it tilt it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our Jimmy rigged. Make sure it's turned up loud.
Yeah. Okay. So I rewound it just a tiny bit so you can kind of catch up from last week, and then we'll go forward.
Ninety-8% of the population is dead or broke at the age of 65. 98% of the population. But we are spoiled rotten. And we're dissatisfied all at the same time. Don't you think that's crazy? So how many of you need to go home and sell a vehicle that you know you don't need? Who's going to go home and sell a vehicle that you know you do not need? You're paying extra insurance, extra maintenance. It is unnecessary. Listen, I got confronted about the house I was living in. We were living in nearly a 6,000 square foot house. Hans and I and 3 small children were living in a 6,000 square foot house. Our food budget was out of control. Our expenses were out of control. And I had a question asked to me. And it's the same question that I'm going to ask to you. I'm sitting in my retreat in my master suite. My master suite is 1,500 square feet. Just my master bedroom alone is 1,500 square feet. How many of your homes are not 1,500 square feet? That was the size of my bedroom. Okay? Why? Because I had the money. Because I had the money. So here we have this excessive house, and we are $100,000 in credit card debt. But we make a ton of money. I was sitting there, and God asked me a question. He says, who is this all for? And I said, well, it's not for Hans, because he could live in a coffee shack and be happy. Who's this all for? Well, Lord, it's not for my kids, because they don't need 10 acres and a pool and a tennis court to be happy. They don't need all their own rooms. They don't need all 6,000 square feet of house to run on. They don't need 6 toilets to pee in. And guess what they did? Feed them. What's what this one's like? He asked me, then who is this all for? I said, well, Lord, it's not for you. You don't need this to look good. Then who's this for? I ran out of people, and I figured out I was talking to God. I said, Lord, I guess it's all about me. I fell to the ground weeping because the girl who said that I could walk away from this lifestyle and money doesn't mean anything to me, my whole lifestyle was all about making me feel successful, and I still didn't. And the Lord said, sell your things and follow me. I used to say I could walk away from it. I used to say I could walk away from it until the day that I was asked to. I began to weep, and I repented. Lord, please forgive me, for I have made agreements with the spirit of greed. I walk downstairs. I am an emotional wreck. I walk into Hans's office, and he is on the computer, and he is giving me the look of, don't talk to me right now, I'm busy, which looks like this. He's doing it right now. He just left it. He's like, but he's doing that thing. And I said, I need to talk to you. And he says, what? I'm kind of busy right now. I said, I need to talk to you. And he could see drama and knew it wasn't going to be a 3-minute conversation. So he's doing this. I said, I really need to talk to you. He's like, what happened? I said, God just told me that we're supposed to sell this house. He looked up, his jaw dropped, and he said, God told me the same thing 2 weeks ago. But I told him, you better tell her, because I ain't fighting that fight. Could you imagine being my husband, and you can live in a coffee shop and be happy, but you are being forced to live in 6,000 square feet and to pay a house payment and to have all these cars and to have all this stuff? Could you imagine you being the one that has to tell me? It had to be God to tell me, because I would put up a fight. How many of you know I would have put up a fight? I would have defended myself. I would have proved that he was wrong and that I was right. So he told God, you tell her, because I ain't getting into that ring. There ain't no way. So we did. We put the house on the market. We sold it. We made $100,000 on it. So what am I telling you? What I'm telling you is that if you made a foolish purchase of a home, if you've made a foolish purchase of a car, if you've made a foolish purchase of stuff, and you are being convicted of that right now, is there anybody here being convicted right now that you know that you've made some foolish purchases? If you have made a foolish purchase, God will bless your obedience, and you will not lose on it. He will bless obedience, but he will not bless retaliation and rebellion. So if you're hearing my voice and you've heard this story, you know deep in your spirit that it's time to do something. You've got to either sell something that you know that you shouldn't have done. Then it is time to take the step in obedience right now, because he'll bless you. In a down market, we made $100,000 on a house that we lived in for 9 months. We lived in this house for 9 months and we made $100,000 up in the mountains where things don't grow like that. In the city, can you buy and sell a house in a year and make $100,000? Maybe. Within 2 years, yes, you can make $100,000 in a house in 2 years in the city, but not where we lived. The market hadn't changed in 10 years. The market had not increased in 10 years. People that bought in that same town 10 years before were trying to sell their house for the same amount that they bought it for 10 years later. And here in 9 months, we made $100,000. Why? Because he blesses obedience. That's why. He blesses obedience. Isn't that awesome? So whatever it is that you're going to walk out of here with obeying concerning these finances, you've got a great chance of being blessed, and his grace is absolutely sufficient. I can tell you story after story after story of that happening. They're going to fire away. You write feverishly. Pay very close attention. Facts tell, stories tell. Stories build your faith. They are the ones that are going to motivate you to pay off your debt and to expand your territory. Okay? Ready? Go.
So I got introduced to the debt concept 36 months ago, did not obey, finally obeyed 24 months ago, less than 24 months, found $10,000 in fat, paid off over $70,000 in debt.
Yes.
My name is Issa, and I had $400 of fat in my budget, and I paid off $59,000 in 18 months.
I had $338 of fat. I paid off $16,000 in 9 months.
Yes.
We were so broke, we were convinced that we were just poor and didn't have any fat in our budget at our first event, and that Danny was a retard. And
awesome.
And that it didn't apply to us. And then we started actually going through, and we found almost $2,000 out of fat in our budget. And so in 33 months, we've paid off right at $60,000. $250 a month Starbucks habit was a part of it.
$250 a month Starbucks habit is what they had. And they just thought they were poor. And I didn't know what I was talking about. Such a great story.
My name is Christina from Los Angeles, California. I came to First of Success in March 2005. Didn't obey with the giving and paying off. We said we have no fat on our budget. And 18 months ago, we finally obeyed. $600 in fat, $18,000 in debt. And God quadrupled our income, and we were able to buy our first house.
Petey from Minnesota. We had $250 worth of fat. We paid off $22,380 in 7 months.
Good job.
We found $50 in fat, and we paid $2,900 off in that 6 months.
Awesome job. Cool.
Tracy from Minnesota, and I found $8,200 of fat in my budget. I have to date paid off $149,700 in debt in 23 months.
We found $1,415 of fat. In 5 months, we paid off $36,100.
And in October, we actually finally got on one accord as a family and started tithing together. And it has just been dynamic what God is doing in our lives. So thank you.
Yes. Hi, we're Stacy and Don from Louisiana. We had $230 in fat. We paid $77,000 in 24 months.
Yes.
We had $100 in fat, and we paid off $3,000 in 7 months.
Awesome job.
We had $800 in fat, and we paid off $22,000 in 6 months.
Wow.
Mike and Amanda from Missouri. About 18 months ago, we found $500 in fat, and we paid off over $10,000.
Yes. That's right.
You guys all should be writing on every one of these stories. You have people on your teams who said they couldn't afford to come and they want to pay off debt. You have like over 100 stories right here. Write them down. Everybody. $2,800 in fat, $128,600 in debt in 27 months.
Yes.
Fat, $315, paid off $28.65 in 7 weeks.
Yes.
Brian from Texas, $750 in fat and $165,000 in 24 months.
Yes.
We found $210 in fat. Have paid off $1,800 in credit card debt in 3 months, and then in my 4th month of eating out of my pantry.
Wow.
I think I'm just about done.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
So I paid have $500 of fat, $1,100 in 2 months.
Good job.
$350 in fat. I paid $3,600 worth of debt in 6 months.
Good job.
In the last 3 months, we found $350 a month in debt and fat, and we paid off $14,000 in debt.
Good job. Wow.
I did not obey my first steps. Since then, I was shocked, and I found $1,200 a month. And in 6 months, I paid $8,200 off in debt, and I will be debt free this year.
Yes!
Zero fat, $325,000 in one day.
Yes! He sold something stupid.
In 7 weeks, we paid off $25,000 in debt. We found $60 in fat. More to come.
Good job.
I found $1,000 in fat, paid off $3,000 in the last 3 months, and just figured out that I'm on track to be debt free in the next 7 months.
Yes!
I found $400 in fat, paid off $8,000 in the last 13 months.
Good job.
I found $250 of fat and paid off $6,000 since last month, which is nice.
6,000 in 1 month. That's awesome.
I've paid off, or I found $325 in fat, trimmed that, increased my tithing, and interestingly, I've paid off $28,000 in debt in the last 2 months.
I paid off $1,200 in debt in 1 month, and I found $1,000 in fat.
Good job.
I found $220 in fat and paid off $10,000 in 10 months.
Good job.
Found $300 in fat and paid off $4,000 in 7 months.
Good job.
I'm not sure what my fat is, but I paid off $40,000 over the last 12 months.
Good job.
Carrie from Texas, 2 months, $800 in fat, $6,000, and I've moved $18,000 to 0% financing, so that should be knocked out pretty soon.
Awesome job. I really didn't obey at first, Jenny, like I should have, but I am now. We have about $1,202 in fat we've cut from our budget monthly, and since September we've paid off $32,012.
We paid off $5,000 in 10 months. We live very frugal, but I still like my cup of coffee. I stopped drinking coffee and I saved about $10 every day, not going to the coffee shop. And from the last seminar, I took the advice. I took all my stock market money. I was gambling a little bit with that, and I paid off credit cards, $7,000.
Yes!
The best move I ever did.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Started off, we found $1,200 a month worth of fat. 40 months ago, we've increased that to $1,800 a month worth of fat because of raises. Paid off close to $80,000 in debt. We have $17,000 left to go, and because of that, at the end of this year, my husband will get out of the military. And now we have the option to do that. If we hadn't done this, my husband would be in bondage to being in the military forever. Thank you.
Wow. $80,000 worth of debt.
And I paid off over $39,000 in 17 months.
Good job.
I found $325 in fat, paid off about $4,000 in 4 months. But I tithed for the first time in December, along with everything on Christmas was out of my debit card, so there's more fat there somewhere.
Yeah, there must be, huh?
Good. We're the Tracy family. In 7 months, we found $250 of fat and paid off over $5,000 in debt.
Good job.
My fourth event obeyed 48 days ago, $179 in fat, $2,500 paid off in tithing.
Yes. Had $100 in fat, and we paid off $23,500 in 4 months.
Good job.
We paid off $1,500 in 2 months and found $1,200 in fat.
Good job.
My wife and I found $950 in fat in our budget in Since Dynasty in Minneapolis in May. We've knocked down our debt about $7,000, and our Christmas budget this year went from $1,000 down to $200, and we sold an extra freezer.
Sold things in the freezer.
Paid off $45,000 in credit card debt in 2 months.
Yes.
And found $1,500 a month in fat.
Good job.
We found $800 in fat. We've paid off $78,000 in 17 months.
We found $800 in fat, and in 2 months we've paid off $5,500.
Wow.
Found $300 in our fat.
were debt free and sent $450 to World Relief in Cambodia.
Awesome job.
We found $1,800 in fat. We paid over $8,000 in debt in 5 months.
$1,000 in fat, $33,000 in 4 months.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, here's how you're going to do it. Okay.
She tells too many stories. Oh, look, we're like black.
Yeah. Get us back in the light.
And Tyler and I have actually stood on that stage and told our story too. Oh, wait, why is Sandra? I can't hear her.
There, now I am. I had muted myself. That's awesome.
Right? Tyler, I can't think of what our account is up to now because we paid off our house. We paid off. We were at 345, and we just paid off another 13. So whatever I'm bad at math. Something like that in like 31 months, maybe. I haven't calculated it for a while.
How long have you been going to her seminars?
I went
like any of the different types.
I went to her first one. Summer Tucker is the one that told me, like, you're coming with me. And I was like, okay. I didn't know anything about it. I was like, okay, I'll go. I was desperate, though. I had no upline. He helped me. And she was more successful than I was. And I was like, I'll do whatever you say. So that was January, I think 2.5 years ago. Because we took a Dave Ramsey class in like October or November, and I went to my first event.
Was it with that group that we were in when a whole bunch of us hit diamond on Krista's team to get into Summer's group? Because she was saying we had to read the one book and then go commit to a Danny Johnson.
We read like John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership or whatever, or growth or whatever, and then we had to listen to 6 Figures in 6 months.
Yep.
And we were supposed to commit to go to a Danny Johnson seminar, and so I went in January. That was the first time. I went like 2 or 3 times that year. I was still like, we were on board with it, but I didn't understand why people went all the time. I was kind of like, it's the same seminar. Like, why are people going, like, spending like $1,000 to go every time? And then we saw how easy it was to get off track with our finances. So I would go and I would come home and I'd be like fired up. And within, a couple of months, you know how it is. It's like the fire burns out. We start making excuses for the things we want to buy. It's almost for me like going to Summit every 6 weeks because it's like that rejuvenation you need like every month and a half.
Yep.
So I committed last August to go for a year to all of her events. We had to cancel one. Canceled one, and I'm not going to her next one because it's the weekend before Summit. But I've gone to every other one in the last year.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of travel, but I feel like it's been worth it. Actually, Tyler's like, shut up to me. Sitting in her seminar is where I had the thought to sell our house.
Really?
And I texted him and was like, I think we need to sell our house. And he was like, no, we're not selling our house. And I was like, no, I think we need to move. Like, first of all, Avery was abused by neighbors. So, like,
yep.
A bad idea to get her out of that situation. But I knew we had a house. And he was like, no, we'll have to pay taxes and stuff on that. And we've never sold a house before. So he was like, no, we're going to have to pay all these taxes. And by the time we get the take home, it's not going to be that much. Well, I was like, let's just talk, like, let's just research it and see like what we could make. Anyway, we ended up selling the house and making $85,000 on our house and putting about 83 towards student loans. Like 82.
Wow.
Kept a little bit to buy a mattress.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what else, but we used most of it to pay off student loans.
Wow.
You notice though, like you listen to these guys' stories and the amount of fat that they found in their budget doesn't really compare to the amount that the total that they paid off. Like if you
That's what I noticed. Like you sell, they find $200 in 1 month, and in 3 months they pay off $7,000 in debt. Like it's because they found certain amount of fat, and then they apparently found more, or took from different areas, and that's how it feels like for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is just those small little changes, even if they are, little and they don't seem like they're a whole lot. That's what they did. Is you find little bits here and there, and then just that mind shift and change in mentality causes you to look for other areas where you can save or sell stuff, or get rid of stuff that you don't really need you're not using. It's just taking up space in your storage room or garage, and so it's just that change of mindset, and that's how they really get to pay off as much debt as they did.
And it kind of starts to snowball too, because when you pay off like this little debt, then have you talked about that part yet? Yeah, we haven't talked about that part yet, but like you pay this off, and then you roll it into the next thing, and then roll it into the next thing, so it starts to I think our fat was like $1,500 or something like that in our budget, or no, $5,000. It was a lot. Our original one, I think, when we very first started, we had a big year at 2015. I think it was like $5,000 in our budget, which is not anymore. But like the amount in our budget compared to what we've paid off in 31 months or whatever is not even close to the same. It's just we became more diligent with everything. So.
Okay. So the next part.
He's like, "Where's the duct tape?"
We can go on. So the next part that we want to talk about is something that her husband Hans talks about in some of the seminars, and she doesn't talk about it here on the video, but
this is so good.
He's gone over this several times, and it's about where you put your money. So as you have income that comes in every month or 2 weeks or however often you get paid, and this is something that we've done, is we set up different accounts, so different savings or checking accounts inside of our main account. And so you've got every time you get paid, you move 10% into they talk about tithing or a charity or some type of giving. So you put 10% there. You put another 10% into debt, so paying off of your debts. And then you have a third account that you also put another 10% down on it, and that's for savings. And so every month or every time that you get paid, you're putting your money into those 3 different accounts, and then whatever's left over, that's what you live off of. So 70% of your income is what you actually live off of. The other 30% is automatically placed into a different account where you're not accessing it to pay for something else that you overspent
on Amazon
on your 70%. So if ideally, if you go by what Dave Ramsey talks about, he says don't put money away, don't invest until you're out of debt. And so if you want to go that route, you can do that. You can not put the money into savings. Dave Ramsey has a emergency fund where he says you've got $1,000 in your emergency fund, have that stashed away in case you need it, and then everything else goes towards paying off debt. So if you want to do that, you can. But ideally, you want to be putting as much money that you can towards paying off debt, because that's just free money that you're giving away. I mean, we realized that we were spending $700 a month just on interest alone.
Just on the student loans, not even like our cars.
Right, and that's just throwing away money. That's just giving it away for no reason.
Someone else's business.
So the more that you can put away towards those debts, the better off you're going to be.
So really quick, so he says the ideal way to do it is like 70% is the most you should be living on. Yeah. The best thing to do is try to get that down, right? So if you could live on 60%, or it just depends on your household and what you need, but the lower you can get that, the more you can be putting toward the debt. So everything left over goes like up your debt number, don't up the savings or don't up the charity until you're in a better position to be able to do that. So it doesn't have to be 70%. That's just like, that's worst case, I guess.
Right. And that's something that we've done.
We started doing that in what, March? I feel like that's made a big difference.
Yeah, it really has. And so every time I get paid, the money gets deposited and I just, move it into those different accounts. And it's super helpful because that money just builds up. Like you don't even pay attention to it. And it just builds and builds. And, obviously you're going to be paying off debt with that account, so that's not going to build. But it's kind of cool because you don't even really think about it. It's just set aside and done with, and you don't even have to think about it.
That's been way helpful. Like he said, she doesn't teach that in here, or actually, we didn't learn that until we went to her not bigger seminar. It's more of her leadership seminar called Creating a Dynasty, and that's where her husband talks a lot and taught us that, which I thought was awesome.
Okay. All right. So we're going to finish up here. So there's two pieces of homework for next week. So hopefully we had a chance to go through your and get your fat. So calculate up the fat from the homework from last week.
Yep.
Okay.
Crazy.
Let's hear it. I want to hear it.
Crazy. I mean, average, I think I found $800 just in groceries.
That's awesome.
Like $800 in groceries, because I know that I can live like comfortably on $300 of groceries every single week. Like, and eating healthy, clean. There's just 4 of us. And we were spending, so that's just $1,200, and we were spending $2,000, and that doesn't include going out for suppers. And it's a little bit, it'll be interesting to see what I can do this month, because the last 3 months we were traveling a lot for my kids' sports. And so we're away for 3-4 days, and I wasn't doing things like packing snacks, or I'm really bad for that. I will try this year to do it differently. But so, in hotels and everything, by the time all that factors in, like restaurants, I was spending $500 to $700. So if you think it's $800 plus $700, right, that's crazy. And, my husband, he's like, we were talking about going on a holiday because we live in a city that's a lot of oil. And so there's a lot of people with a lot of things. A lot of people spending a lot of money. And my husband is like, he's always saying, how can these people afford to do all of this stuff and to buy all of this stuff? And I'm like, do you think they're paying cash? Yeah. Like, they're not. They have visas and lines of credit, and then the oil industry tanks, and now they're selling their RVs and their stuff, right? But he is better than me in that, like, he'll say, well, when our visa's paid off, we can go on a holiday, except for that we keep spending more on our visa. And so it's like, it feels like all of our money is going to pay down our visa. Like, all of our fat, when we do have some, goes down to pay off the visa. But then we just keep putting more on the visa, right? Like, it's just, we're living a little bit beyond our means, where you should be, like you said, living beneath your means, right? Yeah. And so I totally, like, even $800 is a huge, huge number.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, in groceries.
That's the funny part is, like you said, I think we were pretty close to about the same as what you had. And if you think about that, the money, $2,000 a month plus eating out, you're spending, we'd spend $3,000 in a month just on food.
Exactly.
Oh, stupid.
So
crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, you go to the grocery store and you spend, $300-400.
And then you go back again 3 days later because you forgot something and spend another $100, and then
you got food in a fridge full of food, and then you go out to a restaurant.
Yeah, we're like,
to eat.
let's go to eat.
Yeah, let's go out to eat. It's like, well,
then you're throwing it away because it goes bad and you don't use it in time, and then the kids are like, we want pizza tonight, or it's just, it gets to be out of control. When we printed out those 3 months and looked at the reality of what we were spending, I was like, oh it's so, you have no idea. Like, people will say,
I know.
"We know about how much we spend." I'm like, you really don't. If you're not tracking it, you really have no idea.
Well, and even on silly things like 1 month I spent $350 at Shoppers Drug Mart. I don't use medication. It wasn't medication. It was like, my daughter saying, "Oh, I need new mascara," and then all of a sudden we got $75 worth of mascara and face masks and hair masks and crap she doesn't need. Like, here's an egg. Go put that white on your face. Like, it's just as good, probably better, healthier. And so it was like $350 at Shoppers Drug Mart. That's crazy. And then even things like when I was at Shoppers Drug Mart and I went with her and we were we've been talking about, okay, like that mascara could pay for our vacation. I was still on that. And the first thing that I did as soon as we walked around the corner was go to the magazine rack. And I went, hang on, I don't need magazines. Like, I had $100 worth of magazines that I went through and found 20 recipes because I'm addicted to clean eating magazines.
Yeah.
Hey, there is something called Google. Why do I need magazines?
Yeah.
So ridiculous. So, probably, and some of them are $12, $14. So if you think about that, even just $10 or $12 in 1 month, if I only buy one.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Google is an amazing thing.
And just like Tyler said, no, the kids don't need a Slurpee every time we go out. They don't need to go get shaved ice. They don't they don't need it. And if we just keep giving it, they become entitled and they think they need it every time and they get mad if we don't. And
yeah,
it becomes habits. It's just habits. It's not like,
yeah.
I hear people all the time say, well, I just can't get under control. And I'm like, and the hard part is when you're surrounded around people, who do spend and who don't care.
Yeah.
The reason I started going to the seminars so often too, because we live in a very uppity, Utah's a very lots of spending. We would drive around we're barely buying our first house and barely making our down payment we needed for 5% or 3.5% or whatever. And there's people with boats and jet skis and giant houses and campers, and I'm like, how are these people paying for all of this?
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with people who have a similar mindset has been key, because without it, you get sucked into, well, I'm not buying the camper, I'm just buying Skittles, or whatever.
Yep.
I'm done with her, so we're done.
Sorry, we got our daughter in the room.
Oh.
Has some behavior problems.
Okay, so one of the things, the mindset type things that has really helped me too is, and I think we might have talked about this before, but just looking at our spending, we're giving our money away to somebody else, and it's somebody else's business, and that's how they're creating their wealth. So, this is my money. Do I want to use my money to help them create their wealth, or do I want to use my money to help me create my own wealth? And that's been a big mindset shift for me, as I'm, because I do most of the spending. I do the grocery shopping, and I'm usually the one that's out and about and doing all the shopping. And so that's always kind of on my mind when I'm buying stuff. Is this really important to me? Do I want to help this person with their business, or do I want to help myself? And 99% of the time it's, no, I don't really need it. It's, just a want. It's a, something I don't really need. And so I'm just going to put that money back in my pocket and, save it for myself. So, okay. So let's do the last part here. So there's 2 homework assignments, and they're not too much, but so the first one is, I just want you to calculate how much that you've saved over the past 3 weeks that we've been in the group. Write down what changes you've made, and then how you can use that that extra money, not only to pay off debt, but to invest in yourself.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things that Danny talked about on the first video was the different areas of investing. And the part that she said has paid dividends over and over and over again has been investing in herself and her skills. One thing that I want you to consider is how, this money that you're saving, how can you use some of that to invest in yourself to help to create more wealth? So not just, saving and constricting, but spending wisely on something that's going to bring a dividend or going to bring money back to you.
Okay.
And then the second one is just a fill in the blank. So I want you to finish this statement about it over the next week. So the statement is, I cannot expand to my full financial potential because of what? So what is it that you believe is holding you back from expanding your full financial potential?
Good question.
Okay. All right. So hopefully this is all helpful stuff and you're able to get a lot out of it. Did you have any questions, anything like that? Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think, one thing that came up to my mind, because I always have something to say. So I really like feng shui, and I'm a certified practitioner, right? And so part of what the traditional Chinese would say is that the more you give, the more the universe rewards you by giving back, or and so and there's a proverb that says something like, whatever you give away, you get back tenfold. And so a lot of the times I was thinking of that. And so if we have things like extra clothes, or like even bottles or whatever, instead of taking them in for money, we would give them away. So we would give all of our bottles away to the SPCA, like the local animal shelter. And all of our extra clothes and things, we tend to give them away. So we would give them away to like a women's shelter or things like that. And what I noticed is I started giving away a lot. And while I feel that that's good, I want to be able to give. I also think of how much, we sold one of my daughter's bikes for $40, right? It was it was a $300 bike. And I said to Cam, man, did it feel bad that we just took $40 for that? I would almost tend to give it away, because I feel so good for giving for free.
Yeah.
But then, I do that with coaching, and that's why I don't have six figures right now. So my question is, they were talking about tithing. How much money do they recommend that you can give away without it starting to take away from yourself? Does she talk about that, or?
Yeah, I've always heard, when Danny talks about it, or even Dave Ramsey talks about the same thing, is it's always just 10% of what your income is.
Yep.
And I think, she also talks about valuing yourself. And so, not just always, giving and giving and giving, because when people receive things for free, they don't value it. And if they don't value it, then they're not going to benefit from it.
Yep.
And so I think that's also something to consider is, how valuable do you feel the information, on the coaching side, the information that you have, or, the products or whatever, your time, how valuable do you think that is? And don't feel bad about charging people for that, because when people are paying money out, they'll take it for take it more valuable and they'll do something with it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like if you've got skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like and they say, like, if you pay for something, you take care of it because you own it.
Right. Yeah.
And so I get that too. I think it's something that I struggle with myself. Like I need, I don't know, maybe valuing myself. Like I need a mindset statement, because I can tell you that I would spend, for the first probably 3 years of my coaching, I spent the majority of my time giving away advice to other coaches, not on my team. Like other coaches on other people's teams, on our upline, I don't even know who they belong to, people coming to me asking me for help. And so, I took something from it because I felt great for doing that, right? I thought, oh, I'm a great person. No, stupid person. Because I had no time for anything, right? And so maybe that's just it. Like I just keep, I have this thought in my head, I'm a good person if I give this away, right? But then I look and I think, man, I purchased a lot of things that I could have sold. They were still in great shape, and so I think I need to reset. Like I still want to give some, but I don't want to give as much as I have. I think that was one of the things I realized.
Yeah. She hasn't. I mean, I think in your question you were asking, like, if you're giving away, clothing and different stuff like that, does that kind of count towards the the 10%, or how much
yeah
giving away? She hasn't really talked about that or brought that up, or I haven't heard even Dave Ramsey or any of those other people, I haven't heard them talking about that at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think like you were saying, I think the universe rewards you for doing good. So
yeah,
I don't think you need to be stingy by any means. But cutting back is also not a bad thing, in how much you give away.
Yeah. And like I was thinking, just as I was talking, or I could just pick one charity, right? Like I could just pick one to give things to, and then the rest I can allow myself like to sell,
Right. Yeah, because you definitely want to give and to be able and to have charity towards other people. But also look at your own family, your spouse, your kids.
Yeah.
Think of, if you were to sell those things and have money come back to you, what could you do for your own family?
Yeah.
Benefit them.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, we'll try to stay in contact over the next week, and then next week's the last one. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure Angie comes on here, or I'll drive down and kick her ass.
Okay.
Okay. See ya. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you.